The knock came at 10 p.m., soft, hesitant, almost unsure if it should be there at all. Mark was washing the last of the dinner dishes when he heard it. At first, he thought maybe it was the wind shaking the porch swing again. But then it came a second time, 3 slow taps. When he opened the door, there she stood, Emily, his neighbor from across the yard, holding a half-empty bottle of wine, her eyes red like she'd been trying not to cry for hours. "I'm sorry it's late," she whispered. "But, my husband left me 6 months ago, and I just need someone to talk to." Before we continue, if you're enjoying these emotional, real-life kindness stories, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Your support helps the channel, Kindness World, reach more hearts and spread more compassion every day. Mark gently stepped aside and let her in. The house was warm, smelling faintly of vanilla from the candle he lit earlier. Emily held the bottle close to her chest, almost like a shield. She wasn't dressed for going out, just sweatpants and a faded college hoodie, hair tied in a loose messy bun. It was the outfit someone wears when they've finally run out of strength to pretend they're okay. They sat at the kitchen table, the only light coming from the small lamp in the corner. Emily placed the wine down and exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for months. "I thought I was doing better," she said quietly. "But tonight everything just crashed." Mark didn't push her. He simply nodded, poured her a small glass, and waited. Kindness doesn't rush people, it gives them room. Emily took a sip and stared at the wood grain on the table. "We were married 8 years. And then one morning he just said he wasn't happy anymore. No fights, no warning, no chance to fix anything. He packed a bag and left before I even fully understood what was happening." Her voice cracked, but she didn't cry. "Not yet. I spent months blaming myself. Asking what I did wrong. Wondering why I wasn't enough." Mark listened, hands folded, his eyes soft. He remembered seeing her once in her yard, standing alone by the mailbox, staring at some letter with trembling hands. He'd waved, she'd forced a smile, and he thought she just looked tired. Now he understood why. "I know it sounds stupid," she said. "But tonight I opened the closet and saw his old jacket, the one he used to wear on our winter walks. And suddenly, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to sit in that empty house for one more night." She finally looked up at him. "So I came here. Because you always smile when you see me. And I just needed a little bit of human kindness." That was the moment the tears finally spilled. Not dramatic, just soft, slow tears that carried months of silent heartbreak. Mark grabbed a box of tissues and slid it toward her. He didn't say, "Everything happens for a reason," or "You'll get over it." He hated those sentences, they felt too shallow, too rehearsed. Instead, he said, "You don't have to apologize for needing someone." Emily let out a shaky laugh. "I feel ridiculous. Like I'm bothering you." "You're not," he said gently. "Everyone hits a breaking point. There's nothing weak about asking for help." She wiped her cheeks. "Do you ever feel lonely?" Mark paused. "More often than I admit." Emily blinked in surprise. You? You always seem so put together." He shrugged. "I lost my mom 2 years ago. It still hits me sometimes, especially at night when the house gets too quiet." That confession softened something in her face. Pain recognizes pain. "I'm sorry," she said. He nodded. "It's okay. Life hits hard, but it also gives us people to help carry the weight." They talked for nearly an hour. About small things. About hard things. About the strange way life can collapse and then slowly rebuild itself. Emily told him she used to love baking but stopped because it felt strange cooking for one. Mark admitted he'd been meaning to learn how to cook something more impressive than pasta but never found the motivation. "You know," he said, trying to lighten the mood, I'd be a pretty good test subject if you ever decide to bake again." She smiled for the first time that night, really smiled. "Maybe I will." At some point, Emily looked at the clock and sighed. "I should probably head home." "I didn't mean to take up your whole night." "You didn't," he replied. "Anytime you need company, my door's open." She stood, hesitated, then wrapped her arms around him in a soft, grateful hug. "Thank you," she whispered. "I was drowning tonight. You pulled me out without even realizing it." After she left, Mark watched from his window as she crossed her yard. She walked a little slower than before, but her shoulders weren't as heavy. Sometimes kindness doesn't fix everything at once, sometimes it simply gives someone enough strength to survive the night. The next morning, Mark found a small plate on his porch covered with foil. Underneath was a slice of warm banana bread and a note. "Thank you for reminding me I'm not alone." Over the next weeks, they developed a quiet friendship. Not romantic, not complicated, just two people who understood loneliness and chose to soften each other's world. On evenings when the air felt too heavy, Emily would bring tea. On days when work drained him, Mark would show up at her door with takeout. They helped patch the invisible holes in each other's lives. One sunny Saturday, Mark heard laughter spilling from Emily's backyard. She was baking again, flour on her cheek, music playing, the back door open. She waved him over and held out a spoon. "Taste this," she said. "Tell me if it needs more cinnamon." He tasted it and smiled. "It's perfect." "So am I getting better?" she asked, half joking, half vulnerable. "You're healing," he said. "And that's even better." Emily set the bowl down, took a breath, and said, "You know, the night I came over, I felt like I was bothering you. Now I realize that was the night everything started to get better. Because you showed me kindness at a moment I didn't think I deserved any." Mark shook his head gently. Everyone deserves kindness. Especially when they think they don't. Weeks turned into months, and life didn't magically become perfect for either of them. But it did become gentler. Softer. Less lonely. Emily stopped checking her phone for messages that would never come. Mark stopped eating dinner alone at the kitchen counter. They found comfort in the simple fact that healing happens faster when someone else is willing to sit beside you during the hard parts. And if you were to walk past their houses today, you'd often see them laughing together on the porch, sharing stories, sharing moments, sharing the kind of quiet companionship that grows from genuine empathy. Kindness didn't fix their pasts. It didn't erase their pain. But it did give them something far more powerful: hope, connection, and the reminder that even in the toughest moments, a single act of compassion can change the entire direction of someone's life. And maybe that's what we all need sometimes. Not solutions. Not perfection. Just someone who opens the door at 10 p.m. and says, without hesitation, "You're not alone." So tonight, and every night after, let this story be a reminder: kindness is never wasted. It doesn't matter how small it seems. You never know whose heart you might be helping carry back to the light.